we're going to talk about some attachable and detachable things that you can do with jackets and pants and all kinds of things. This would be a great thing to do for some clothes that you're going to take on a trip, and you want to make somebody think that you have about 5 garments and they're all different, but it's really got one base to it. So let's take a look at a basic jacket that I've made. And here it is, just a cardigan type neck, where just a plain jacket, but very classic. And then all we have to do is add a half collar, and we match the fabric, the skirt fabric, and we've got a detachable collar, but nobody knows that's the same jacket. And of course, then you've got an option to wear it without that too. And then if you had a pair of pants and you wanted to match up the collar again, that doesn't look like the same jacket because you've changed the collar. And here is a great idea for being able to use it in several different ways. So now let's talk about what we need to do for patterns and how we're going to use these. First of all, you want to find a good pattern that's a jacket that would be something that fits you well, very flattering for you. So if you wear short jackets, well, do a short jacket. If you wear long ones, do whatever works the best for you, because you're going to wear this jacket a ton of times and you're going to love it. So make it good and to fit and very comfortable. So let's just look at these 2 patterns that I have right here, just to give you an idea of what you have as choices. This is a pattern with just a cardigan neckline here, and yet this pattern right here below it is a jacket pattern that has a lapel pattern to it. And if you want to look at the fact that it has a roll line right here, the roll line and this cardigan match right up to that line. So this gives you an idea of what you've got for choices. And here is the collar that goes onto this jacket too. So that's just to show you just some options. You can use a regular jacket, take another jacket's collar, or whatever you want to do, or make your own. And here is just kind of some basic things that I did, and it's putting it to the facing. This is the lapel of that jacket, but it is taken, not put on the jacket, but put on the facing as the base of the jacket. And so the buttons and all that go on in below. And here is the half collar. And as you can see, I've just extended it. I didn't even add a piece. I just extended it over and kept that edge there, so that when I turn this, it's underneath the jacket. So that's the secret behind these lapels, these collars, and it's very easy. And the thing is, you're not making jackets, you're making one jacket and lots of different collars. So it just opens up an avenue that you just can't believe. So let's look at this. One thing about making your own pattern is that you can do it just the way you want it. So you can have as much as you want as far as width or style. So let's take a look at how I did this half collar. I'm going to go ahead and line this up, and notice that I have the seam allowance is still in this collar. So here is how I did it. I took it from the point of the seam allowance, and then I just winged it out. I'd like to call it winged it out, and then it just comes down to about where that button goes. And then I extend it, and I want to extend this 1.5 inches, 1 1/4 to 1 1/2, no less than 1 1/4. And part of the reason is because it's also got to turn around that jacket neckline. So you lose a little bit of length when you put it from the inside and bring it around. And also remember that I also had the seam allowances on this jacket too. So we're working with the seam allowances, and so that's something you need to consider also. Now here is what I do if I have a shawl collar. Here is 3 examples actually of collars, And I want you to see the difference. This shawl collar has a standing up look more than this one over here. And if you look at the way that it is rounded, it's rounded so much more like your neckline of your jacket. This is going to actually stand up. This is a stand-up collar, and this is a lay-down collar. So this is going to be more like, almost like a sailor collar lays down, or something, a flat collar. It's a flat collar. Now here is this same collar that I have just winged it out again, like I said before. And I'm going to show you an example of that in just a minute. When you get all of this done and you want to make yourself a template where you're going to have all your places where you put your buttons or your snaps. You can use button snaps. I don't like Velcro too much because it leaves some bulk, but be sure on the pattern that you give yourself a guide where you put those snaps and those buttons, because then you can use this later for other purposes if you're going to do another collar. And so let's take a look at another basic jacket that I've done. Here's a longer length jacket, white with the same cardigan type neckline, and I have taken and put a black collar to this one, and look at the dramatic difference it has made to put the contrasting black and white against each other, and it just totally changes the entire jacket. Nobody knows that you've done that. Now let's talk about some other things that you can do. What a fun thing to do with a pair of pants. Here are, it's one pair of pants, 2 legs, but I'm showing you 2 ways that I can use this. This is a pair of pants cut into a capri length, and right here, you almost can't see it because it's dark, and that's what you don't want to see it, actually. This little cuff is actually buttoned on to the bottom of these pants. And I can wear this pair of pants with a cute little pink top. And here's a cute little pink top that this will go with. Or I can take that cuff off and I can put some beads on. And these beads are just applied. I've taken a ribbon and I've actually put the ribbon on top of the bead. The beads are already on a base, a ribbon, or any kind of strip that they're already sewn on, and I have put my buttonholes on there, and then I can take this on and off, and then I can wear this one with something more casual looking, and look at how you change that entire look of that garment with 2 different ways to use it. And let me tell you something. If I wear a navy blue pair of pants several times, they're not going to know this is the same pair of pants if I change the bottoms. And the other thing that happens is if you put this directly on here, you're stuck. That's the only thing you can wear it with. I can only wear that with my pink top or whatever you've put on the bottom of that. So you are pretty much, it dictates what you're going to wear. So this is a great way to do this. So let's talk about how we will do this changing. And of course, if you are somebody who doesn't want to do the sewing, go ahead and buy a pair of pants and do this too. You could use snaps. If you use a Velcro, it gets a little bit heavy on the bottom of the hem. Velcro is not pliable enough, and I think you might not be as happy, but there's all kinds of different things that you can decide to use that will help you to be able to use these pants this way. So let's say we have our pair of pants and we want to change them to the length, and if you got a capri length, it's kind of neat because then you can wear them without anything on the bottom if you'd like. So when you cut this off, the one thing that you want to make sure of is that you have a double hem. And if you notice, if I just cut that off, I've put this green piece of paper there so you can see. Do you see how that's a little bit shy of the the seam line, you're going to end up with this buckling if you don't add that width to the seam, the hem. So instead of just cutting this just off cold turkey and turning it up, because you do need a 1-inch hem because you need the weight to hold all these extra things. What you want to do is first fold it up and then cut it. So fold it up first and then cut it. And then it looks like that. But that's the best way to get the line. What you need is the line of how that starts graduating wider at the leg. And then we have now the option of how we're going to put this together here with something on the bottom. And all you have to do is take the length of the cuff, whatever you want for a cuff, and add the top band, or just add it enough so that it will go underneath. And you need at least 1 inch again. So add this, and you'll actually have a pair of pants. So you can take the pair to a capri pair of pants to a long pair of pants. So you can wear them summer and winter. That's even better. And I talked about how you could put, what you could put on these. Here's the larger snaps are great now. So you have good ideas for putting these on with snaps, buttons, and buttonholes. What I've done is I've put them on, the button is on the garment, and the buttonholes are on whatever I'm attaching. And that's just the way I did it. Now, again, you want to be sure that you make yourself a little template so that you know, because every time you make a pair of these pants, you're going to want to go ahead and do another one. And so there's your lines where you're going to put all your buttonholes. So then all you have to do is lay this strip on. You know the exact length that you need, and you also know where you're going with the buttonholes. So now let's take a look at another option for the bottom ruffle of a pair of pants. Here is the cutest little ruffle that you can put on the bottom of the pants. It again goes with another pair, another type of top, and it's just the same pair of pants again. And let's see how we can work this ruffle. Ruffles are so popular right now, and so I'd like to show you kind of how you make those measurements. The first thing you want to do is fold your fabric 4 times. Fold your fabric in half and then fold your fabric in half again, so you have four halves. And then you're going to measure the length of your pant bottom. And this might be your waist if you wanted to make a circular skirt. This works the same way. But this is the way you get a circle that fits where you're putting it. So you're going to take that number, and I'm just saying that I have number 19. I have 19 inches in width. And you're going to subtract 1 inch. That's just a given. You subtract 1 inch, and then you're going to come up with 18 inches. And then you're going to divide it by 6. Okay, so dividing it by 6 gives you 3 inches. And that number is going to end up to be your guide for where you're attaching this. So I'm going to measure my 3 inches, and of course this is a small sample, so I don't have exactly 3 inches, but I want you to see, I would just take my little hem gauge and I would line it up, and I would mark all the way around, and there's the place that it's going to be attached. Now I want to figure out how long I want the ruffle, and that's just your choice. I made my ruffle 3 inches. You can make it 1 inch. You can make them whatever you want. And so then that is going to be our length line. So now I'm going to mark there 3 inches from this line right here. So now I've got my mark all the way around. Now we're going to open this ruffle up after we cut around both of these, and we end up with our circle. And then all we have to do is cut the center off, and once we cut the center off, then look how that ruffle pulls out. Just as simple as it can be. And here you are, there's your line, and then here is if you wanted to do a double ruffle. Now this is going to be a ruffle. My ruffle got a little bit crumpled here, but you know, if you want your ruffle to be really, really full, then divide it by 9. That's 1.5 times what we did the other one with. And then what you do is you seam it. And see, I can't even see the seam. There it is right there. There's a seam in the center. And this is going to go in the same length if you wanted it to be real full ruffle. Now, we have a couple, I have one other thing I wanted to show you, and that's a jacket that I have done a detachable collar with. And this is just a plain jean jacket, and I have taken a piece of mink, and this mink is just a scrap from something, but you know, you've got all kinds of things around that you could use. And nobody would know that that's a detachable mink collar. So maybe I don't want to wear this in the springtime. What I've done is I have actually taken and made this collar from the collar of the jacket. So what I did was I laid the jacket up, took the collar length or the collar design, and then I added my seam allowances, and then I took this collar and I lined it with a different kind of a fabric. Now, because this mink is a little bit, it's a little bit stiff, I didn't want anything heavy on the back, so I just used a lining. And then you can't even see it, but I've got some little hooks all the way along the very edge of the neck. And then what I've done is, once I got those done, then I put a thread loop, and let me see if I can point to the thread loop here. I put the thread loop right here in the very corner of the jacket. So there's one there, and there's one here. You can see I've just gone along the little places here where this jacket folds over. So here's another one. These are not real bright, so you can't see them. And that's the point. I can wear this without this, and nobody even knows that those thread loops are there. And then on the very edge of this collar, I have gone ahead and put a thread loop across the corner. Now this thread loop is going to hold this in place when it goes onto this jacket. And now I'm going to see if I can show you that. And this just holds this in place so that it doesn't fall off and do its own thing. And this is the only stability I have on this. So I have it hooked on with the hooks and thread hooks on the inside of the collar. So look at all the different ways that you can take one garment, one item, and change it in the bottoms, change it on the tops, and you can wear them all kinds of different ways.